And hello, recording people. I'm glad you can hear me. I will just bring up my notes. Okay, so Visual Studio Online, fairly straightforward, really. So we're going to start off by doing, so access is by Azure, obviously. Well, maybe not obviously, but it is. So we're going to start off by adding ourselves a new website. And what I'm going to do is create a fairly straightforward application. I'm going to give it a URL. Any ideas?
Altnet Sid.
Wow.
I know. What's the original?
Altnet Sid. I might create the. Oh, it's taken. Oh, have I done this one before? All right. Altnet Sid Jan. 2014. Oh, it's Feb. Oh, good grief. All right. That's a horrible name, but it'll do, and we'll create it in East Asia. Great. Okay, so once that thing kicks in, which doesn't take too long, it's just a website. There we go. We can hit the magic button, jump in here, and first thing we do to enable Visual Studio Online is go to Configure and
Enable PHP.
Yes, we turn that off straight away because no one wants that. No one.
Apparently Rob Connery does.
Burn.
Too soon.
Alright, this little button here, Edit in Visual Studio Online, we go on. That was pretty amazing, wasn't it? You're just doing an overheard tweet, aren't you? Alright, you do have to hit the little save button down the bottom. If you don't hit save, guess what? It doesn't save.
It prompts you when you navigate away.
Alright, so that's done. So now we can jump back to our dashboard, and on the right here in the quick glance you'll see an entry pop up in a second. Boink! Edit in Visual Studio Online. Okay? At that point, when we click that, we jump into Monaco, which is the new source editor browser thing. Now Monaco, as it turns out, has been out for a while, just the editing capabilities haven't been on. If you've used TFS Online or now Visual Studio Online service, the source side of things, the source preview viewer that you get is actually Monaco under the hood, just without the editing features on there, which is kind of cool.
It's also in Visual Studio in the box and another desktop application.
Another desktop application.
It uses the same stuff that Visual Studio does.
Which would be? Exactly. Alright, now a few things to note about this. Firstly, source control is built into Visual Studio Online, not the TFS side of things, just this edit in Azure. You've got to git repo straight up. And it auto-saves your files, so you don't have to worry about hitting Control S all the time. It's basically like most blog engines, every couple of seconds it saves your files, which is cool. Unless you're editing in production, which I'm about to do.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so a few things down the side here. Explorer is just your file explorer. Git is your repo view. I'm going to init one here instead of connecting to VSO. There we go. Initialized. And over here, I have a console. Un console inside the thing, which is nice. And I can do status and all that sort of stuff. And I can actually check my version. -- version, and it's 1.84 msysgit, pretty straight up vanilla out of the box, all good, which is nice. Now there's some funky things this means. We've got help in here, we've got MS Build out of the box, so if you do have a Visual Studio solution or anything like that, you can just run MS Build on your solution. It'll do the compile on the box. Obviously you don't have a lot of the dependencies you might have, so you want to have everything in NuGet so that you can bring that stuff down. If you're doing Node, you can run Node or use NPM and all that sort of good gear. And if you're doing PHP or something else, well, just investigate yourself and understand what's going on.
Can you install Chocolatey there?
Chocolatey, no. Though you could, I'll show you a few tricks later which are kind of interesting. The other things, git config, -- global L. We've got a default username and things set up. We don't like that, so we want to change that. So git config user.name and I'm just doing local, not global here, as you can tell. Whatever. Is that font okay for you guys, by the way? Just want to make sure, because I can't do too much about it other than Zoom. There's no options for font size in here before everyone calls out, font size! Okay. A few other things about this interface, apart from the fact there's a console there. A few of you go, I like working in the dark. So guess what? You can work in the dark. Aren't you happy?
Make it transparent.
Yes, but not out of the box. You have to use a browser extension and, you know. Or you can go high contrast, because I like that. High contrast is great. Really hurts the eyes after a while. So for some people it's cool, obviously. So, you might think that's okay, but you can actually run multiple consoles. A little button here, open new console. We can have two consoles running at once, so we could have our Git stuff in one place, and we could be, you know, mkdir something else, and switch around and do some command line goodness in another console. And switching between them is actually pretty easy. If I go Control E, I get this up, and I can just go console 1, console 2, console 1, console 2. So I can switch around, which is nice. I can even put them side by side if I really want to. Whatever else. Alright. So that's nice. Good little setup. Now I want to build a website, so I'm going to start off by doing what all people do, right? You get install Angular. And then we wait for a moment while it goes off to NuGet, grabs my AngularJS stuff and goes, wacko! Cop that. I have a whole lot of files. Now, it doesn't put things in your standard packages folder as you would in a .NET solution. The way it does things is drop it in at the root, and you get the new package as well as the content that's been expanded sitting in that one spot. It's up to you then if you want to reorganize things and move them around yourself. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. It's a limitation of what we're working in at this point, I think, more than anything else.
Because NuGet outside of Visual Studio, right?
Yeah, this is just command line NuGet. Yeah.
Nothing stopping me restructuring it as well, even to restructure.
No, you can go and do that as much as you want. So I can do make dir scripts, for example, and as I do that, you'll see I get a scripts folder turn up here, and then I could go grab, you know, all my content here, whatever it happens to be, and if I want, I can, you know, drag things around and move them, whatever else. I'll leave that where it is for the moment. Okay, so that's cool. In here, by the way, in my scripts folder, I'm going to add a new file. So I just right-click app.js, which is great. I should probably add a HTML file or something like that as well. Probably. You think?
Yeah, why not?
Maybe. Okay. Oh, sorry. That's the that one there. That hosting start HTML was that page that came up when we were looking at the start. So new file here, default.html, which is cool. And I'm going to cheat so you don't have to watch me typing, which is always bad. And I'm going to grab that and drop it in. Okay, so there we go. That's a little bit easier for you guys. This is fairly straightforward. If you haven't seen Angular before, who's not played with it yet? That's okay, everyone's played with it. Or you just don't like putting your hands up? Cause
I've looked at it, but I've played with it.
Okay, so I'm basically going to be getting back out of my app here. I've got a controller that I'll code up in a second. It's going to give me back some feeds. I'm just going to drop them into a list. It's not going to be the fanciest app in the world, obviously, but I want to try and get as much as I can get done without ever going into Visual Studio or leaving the browser. Okay, so I've got that. I need to add some scripts to the page, right? Probably. Thanks for your support, guys. And I will just grab that.
Left the browser.
Wow. Okay, and taking out the Smartass Award. Should I put them at the top of the page for you as well? Would that be better? You idiot. By the way, I should just show this. Script source equals, come on, IntelliSense. There we go. There is some IntelliSense support in here. If I do things like this, we've got, come on, there we go, that one. So we've got a little bit of code snippet support in there as well, which is kind of useful. And I could put in there, obviously, whatever I want. Note that this is a proper code snippet. It doesn't have type equals text JavaScript and all that sort of business going on. Yeah. Okay, so a few things. There's my Angular. I've got local. I've got an app.js, and I've got that. All right. So at this point, I might think that's enough. Just do a git commit. Probably useful. Is that okay? Mr. GitHub? Can I do that? Oops. Control E. I can run to my console again. Git -a. Let's just add the whole damn lot. Alright, there we go. And you'll see over here that the Git stuff disappeared automatically, so that syncing's in place. I've got no more changes here. This here, in terms of the Git interface from a GUI perspective, is pretty bog basic, standard, nothing to it. It's enter a commit message, hit enter, you're done. It's just a simple way to commit. If you want to do anything else, it's command line time.
What if you didn't pass in a message on that last step?
Okay, what if I didn't pass in a message? Let's go and go to app.js, and we'll go, yep, strict. There we go, that'll do to start off with. So that's updated, I've got that available. If I go back to my console, Control E, Console 1, -A. In-place editor. Now this is kind of cool. What do I want to do? Control S to save it or escape to cancel. You get this little pop-up thing happening all over the place. Just for you. We love. Okay. Job done. Is that too creepy? A little bit. It's a private matter. But the love is pure. All right, so good. All right, so we're getting our commits in there, which is cool, and that'll build up over time. No drama. All right, I probably should just quickly throw in a little bit of module stuff as well. Grab that. So it's got something to do, and I'll go to my app, which I had here, paste. Okay, I'll get rid of that one. So you'll see on the right, as I've dropped that in, we've got this little changes bar telling me what's changed in the file, which is nice. I can actually do a changes view, jump over here and it goes into split mode, shows me what I want, or I can switch to inline view as well, so you've got that flexibility, which is nice. Now this diff is only for changes in your working copy. Okay, it's not going to be changes with versions back in time or anything like that. The editor is not at that point yet. I'm sure it'll get worked on and something will turn up. But for now, that's where we're at. Other things to note. I can do peak definition. Let's see, if I right click this and go peak definition, this does inline. So you know how in 2013 we've got peak definition. If you've not seen it before, you right click something in 2013 and it shows you the definition inline. It's here in this editor as well, which is kind of cool, really. In this case, it doesn't make a lot of sense because it's in the one file. But if you want to jump around and see what's going on and you don't want to switch too many windows and so forth, then that's kind of nice. Other things, obviously, we've got straight go to definition, which takes us there. Find all references gives us a different view, and we get the view on the right here. So as we click those, that peak definition view updates. So in terms of editing, you know, the basics are fairly well covered in terms of changing some code and mucking around with stuff. Alright, so a commit here, just hit enter, and you've got your basics of a commit done, which is cool. Okay, what else do I need to do? Is remember my script, where I was at. Now, there are some funky things in this guy here. Just to muck around a little bit, let's go over here. Actually, should I show you what the site looks like now, by the way? Let's just go here and see if the site's working, or if I've typed something wrong. Did I spell default wrong, did I? When, just then, or? Oh, thanks guys. Defuel. I can't even spell it incorrectly. Alright. There you go.
What changes are there once you make them or once you commit them?
Good question. Alright, so let's go do foo out. Jeez. It's gone, huh? I've just removed it. Okay. Now, I'm missing I've got another typo, obviously, because that should have kicked in. Oh, no, this will be because I've just missed a few settings. That's okay. Even still, so it's live editing, so you have to be aware of that if we're doing that. That said, there is in here the ability to enable stage publishing, okay, which I must admit I haven't yet played with to any great extent, and I'm not going to do it now because you never go off script in a demo, do you?
Not ever.
No, ever. Ever. No. Okay. Alright. I was going to show you some console funkiness. So just over here, guess what? I have PowerShell. Ooh. Oh, we can do all sorts of things in here, right? Such as, let's see what's running on the box. PowerShell, it's the command line version only, so you can't get to do an interactive prompt, but I can go get PowerShell-command, get process. There we go. What's running on the box at the moment. Kind of nice, huh? Give me a console in a web browser where I can go and do evil things. That's all good.
Shut the machine down to a process.
Not while I'm doing a demo. All I'd have to do is jump back into here, by the way, and just tell it to kick in again, but, you know, it's not too bad. Okay, what if I want to upload a file to my site? Let's say I want to throw an image up there or something like that. Now, I can just do upload files, and I could pick something from here and, you know, whatever it happens to be. That's kind of boring, though. What about doing this? NuGet install wget Windows. This is a little NuGet package that has wget in it by default, which is kind of fun because then I can go wget Windows / wget.exe and put in something like where is it? Images running with scissors 1 -big.png. Kind of cool, hey? Now, I'm not saying be evil on those boxes, but you're able to run pretty much anything without elevation. If you need elevation, obviously it's not going to happen, but we can go and do stuff. And as long as it works from the command line, you should be fine. Which is, I think, kind of nice. So it means we've got ways of working around some limitations that we might otherwise have. Other things that we might have, pardon me, let's go add a folder, not in that spot, go out here and add a folder, and we'll add a CSS file, site.css for example. That was a folder. Shush. Fail.css. Oh dear, don't let me out. So I might put in a H1, something like that, and I might say, I don't know, anything. I've got various IntelliSense support coming in there, font size. Now you see I hit enter, nothing happened. If I keep hitting tab, it doesn't go through, so I have to hit right arrow just to do IntelliSense completion when there's multiple options. So just something to be aware of. It's not quite the same as you would have in a normal IDE. But that's okay, and then I can put in, you know, of course, Arial, Tahoma, and Comic Sans. Thank you. Alright, and we might have, I don't know, something like color. What would I like? Azure.
No. You gotta go badass.
Badass. Badass.
B-A-D-A-5-5.
There we go. And we get the little indicator indicating, indicating what color it is. So that's nice. Don't have to save it, it's already live. If I go over here, it will not do anything at the moment because I haven't actually put it onto my page. Kind of useful, Mr. Fail. Now, you might want to be able to do that, but there's no support at this stage. So that's a bit sad. So I'm just going to have to do link. Actually, I might have a quick one for that. I haven't got one. Oh, there you go. Rel equals sheets. What did I call it? Fail. That's right. href, not source. css/fail.css. No, it's in fail, not in site. That's the subdirectory. Do you want me to prove it? Here we go. I have a console. Oh, Control E, jump around. By the way, that Control E thing, there's actually a whole lot more you can do in here. So if I go like that, there's various navigate options and save and split editor. So if I want to edit things side by side, actually this is kind of useful. Let's say I've got my HTML here. I can go into side by side mode, and on this one I can bring up my fail CSS so I can see the HTML and the CSS next to each other. Obviously a wider resolution is nicer, and if I really want, I can do that sort of thing as well. And as I click between the two, you can see it's switching around in terms of context and which one's more visible. Alright, close that one. Did I get that in? Anyway, you get the idea. Doesn't matter. Boom, there it goes, a little bit larger. Alright, that's pretty much it, I think, in terms of the basics of the editor. Feel free to explore. Now, there is other things you might want to do. If I go back over to here, you'll see there's a button that says connect to Visual Studio Online. If I do that, I'm effectively giving myself access to here. I'm going to go to this quickly and set up. Yeah. So I might jump into this particular project I prepared earlier, and I'm just going to quickly go and create another Git repo. Version control, new repo, Feb 2014. Hit the magic button. Nothing's in there. Let's go to code, just so I can grab URL properly, and I'll bring up 2014. Alright, and I'm going to cheat because I can't be bothered typing as much. Copy, jump back over to here, hit the accept button, that would be useful. Alright, go to my console, paste, which is cool, and again I'm going to, given my typing ability today has been horrible, going to do that, and what will happen here is I will get prompted. Okay, so again that inline thing going on, and I will just grab my credentials, hit enter, done, pushed, and now I've got my sync between a proper off production version control and an on one. So if I'm doing a little site and I'm not that worried about screwing around with people when they're looking at it and it's low volume or whatever else, perfect. If I want to spin up a site just to muck around with some ideas for myself, perfect, because I don't have to worry about spinning up VS and going through the whole rigmarole and everything. I've just got it there, it's up and running, and I've had to install nothing. So kind of useful. Apart from that, I think I am pretty much done. That's half an hour of a quick run through of VSO.